Hey guys, welcome back to the Piston Show. I'm Kashi Dillon, and today I have here with me the ultimate poster child of the American motorcycle, the new for 2024 Harley-Davidson Street Glide. It costs 195,900 ringgit. It has been updated. It has more power, it has better looks, and an infotainment system that a lot of car companies cannot match. But should you actually give up your retirement fund or delve into your children's education fund or give your wife a reason to leave you and spend 195,900 ringgit on a motorcycle? I'm going to answer that question right after this sponsor break where we acknowledge our sponsor. We'll be right back in 60 seconds.
Whether you ride for fun or for work, untoward incidents are bound to happen. That is why it is very important to have an insurance partner that takes care of you and your beloved motorcycle. I choose Berjaya Sompo Insurance because it gives me and my motorcycle everything that I need, including maintenance tips and comprehensive insurance coverage. I get complimentary personal accident coverage worth 5,000 ringgit, and Berjaya Sompo Insurance also covers my motorcycle for the agreed value of the sum insured. But to top it all off, I get complimentary 24/7 towing services of up to 100 kilometers with comprehensive coverage, so I know my bike will never be left stranded. On top of that, my insurance covers all riders, so I know my friends and family are covered when they ride my bike as well. With Berjaya Sompo Motorcycle Insurance and it's the Good Riders Initiative, which is a testament to the company's continuous commitment to promoting rider safety, I know I'm always taken care of.
Now, the latest generation Street Glide, in fact even the Road Glide, has been introduced to replace the old Rushmore series. Now, when Harley-Davidson set out to improve these motorcycles, they had a couple of things in mind. Introduce a new styling, introduce a new infotainment system, and improve the comfort for both rider and passenger, and of course, add more power. Have they achieved that? Hell yeah! Because it's an amazing looking motorcycle. I'm a fan of the Road Glide more than I am of the Street Glide, but it's undeniable that the new Street Glide is a very good looking machine. In fact, this Batwing front fairing has been around since 1969. Now this is a big deal because nothing speaks heritage more than a design language that has been carried over through the generations. Something like the Porsche 911. Now, this though has been updated because there are daytime running lights over here in the Omega fashion. And then there's the turn signals have been integrated into the fairing now, and Harley-Davidson calls it the Eagle Wing. Now, in terms of design, it looks great. I'm more of a fan of the fixed fairing of the Road Glide rather than the moving fairing of the Street Glide. And I'm not sure why. Maybe because cops in America ride this thing a lot. So, not a fan. Road Glide, brilliant. Anyway, you get this bending wall forks over here, 49mm thick, 320mm discs with 4-piston calipers. They're brilliant. They're more than up for the job. And the thing about this Street Glide and the thing about Harley-Davidsons generally is that they have brilliant stopping power and they have brilliant low speed balance, and that has been continued on with the new Street Glide. It's still a very nice motorcycle to ride, but there are a couple of things that I'm just not a fan of. But before we talk about the things that I don't like, let's just look into the things that I really like, such as the seat. The curve of the seat just makes it quite comfortable, especially for longer rides. And at over 300 kilograms, the Street Glide is not light, but it's lighter than the previous generation model. However, the one thing that I truly like about the new Street Glide is the infotainment system. This is one of the nicest infotainment systems in any motorcycle. Look at how big this screen is and how crisp everything is. And then you even get this tray to keep your phones, to connect your phone, and it even comes with wireless Apple CarPlay, even though the guy at Harley-Davidson PJ said that I needed a cable for it. But when I went online and I did my own research, it said wireless Apple CarPlay. So I'm not kind of not sure why you need a cable, even though it comes with wireless Apple CarPlay. They didn't explain it to me. One of those things, I guess. Anyway, it has a banging sound system. Let's see if I can get into this. I like that balance of rich bass and such. It's just such a nice sound system, but it's just almost useless at highway speeds. You're not going to hear anything but a slight thump of the bass. Anyway, the good thing about this infotainment system is that you can actually use it with your gloves on, so that is fantastic. And then the other thing is you get this mini flap over here. Now this actually helps you to channel air towards you when you're riding, and that just helps you keep cool. And when it starts to rain and such, you can just close it to keep the water away from you. Now this is, because you have such a big fairing, so sometimes you need wind to your face. This just helps keep you cool. That's something that I appreciate about the new Street Glide. Now, the other thing about the Street Glide is the aerodynamic enhancements that the bike has to offer. Now, Harley-Davidson says that this motorcycle was designed using CFD technology as well as in the wind tunnel. Now, that basically means that the bike is slippery as it cuts through the air. Interestingly, Harley-Davidson also says that this reduces helmet buffeting by 60%. That is mega, right? And yes, you do sort of feel it. Even though wind noise can be very noticeable, but your helmet doesn't, bang around on your head. So that is pretty cool as well, and something that I appreciate. And the other thing about the new Street Glide are the controls over here. Now everything seems to be within easy reach. If I wanted to, let me just put it into neutral for you. If I wanted to start the bike, it's just a simple. Since we got the bike started, I would just like to say I'm not a fan of how it sounds like. It just sounds too tame. So this is a bike that is obviously meant to be modified. So please, if you're thinking about getting a Street Glide or any other road glide or such, do yourself a favor and change the pipes right away. Anyway, the other thing that I appreciate about it is just how easy the controls are. Everything is located within just a short stretch of your thumb. Now you want to change the modes, the riding modes, which you get sport, you get adaptive, you get rain mode, and you get street mode. So that's just easy. You just need to delve into this. And in typical Harley-Davidson fashion, the indicator switches are just left, right, and these are your audio control buttons, your volume. This lets you choose the next track and such. And then basically everything else is over here. This is your deep menu, so your controls, device manager, your sound, your display, and let's see what the display does. This is your layout. So you can choose sport, touring. This is basically how tour looks like, and then sports, and then. But that's the beauty about a digital display. You can just customize it however you like. And there's a lot of bike function. Basically, your entire menu is over here. And then I like this tray over here as well. This just push this, and you can just keep all your stuff, your wallet, your phones and such, everything. And quality is just top notch. That's one thing about Harley-Davidsons, right? They feel like pure heavy metal motorcycles. So I got no complaint about the quality of the motorcycle. It feels very, very nice. Now we dive into the new engine. The new Milwaukee 8117 engine replaces the old 107 engine and is now rated at 1923 cc's. That is a huge engine, and it produces more power than before. It now produces 107 horsepower and 175 Newton meters of torque. This engine is unique to the street and road glide and is not the same as the ones that you find in other Harley-Davidsons, such as the Breakout, for example. And the heat, the thermal efficiency of the engine has also been enhanced, meaning that it's not as hot as before. Now, Harley-Davidsons of yesteryear were always known for their heat and for the vibrations and such. And that's something that you won't find in the new Street Glide. Vibrations are down to barely noticeable levels now, which is quite a huge enhancement for the Street Glide. Power though is almost instantaneous, especially riding it in sport mode. The bike is always on an edge, and it's something that for me, I'm just so not used to it, because you don't expect a Street Glide to be so eager to go and to be able to carve past corners like that. But this is with sport mode on, the new engine and the way it delivers power is just fantastic. It's something that will catch you off guard, and hence why I just chose to ride it in road mode. Rain was just a little bit too sedated for me, so I preferred road mode. I think it's more in line with the overall character of the motorcycle. Sport mode just brings out the beast in it, and it's just what you feel and what you expect a Harley-Davidson to be like just does not click in your head, and it takes some time to actually realize what the motorcycle can do. And that's not to mean that it's not a proper corner covering machine. If you've noticed, in America they actually have the Bagger series right now, and you'll be amazed at what the likes of the Street Glide can do in the right hands. It is not a light bike, but on the go, it hides its weight really well. But this engine though, and its enhancements, particularly thermal efficiency and the way it produces power, is just fantastic and a huge step forward from previous Harley-Davidsons. Hey guys, what are some of the things that you consider when choosing a petrol brand? For me, I make sure that the petrol can keep my engine clean and also give me better mileage. I'm sure everybody thinks about this when choosing a particular brand. With BH Petrol's Infinity RON 95 Euro 4M, you'll get precisely that. It has special German additives that reduces the amount of deposits that build up in your engine over the long term, keeping it clean. It also has improved friction modifiers that reduces the amount of friction that your engine has to go through, ultimately giving you better mileage and making BH Petrol's Infinity RON 95 Euro 4M the right choice. But when the corners get interesting, what you want is absolute control of the motorcycle as well as great stopping power. And that is why the cornering electronic linked brakes, which is quite a mouthful, actually comes in handy with the Street Glide. What that basically means is that when you get on the front brakes, the rear brakes also come into play and work concurrently, and when you get on the rear brakes, the front also works concurrently with the rear to give you ultimate stability. But not only that, there are other electronic controls as well, such as cornering drag torque slip control, which basically just means that if you get on the power a little bit too fast, it's going to cut power to the rear wheel just to give you ultimate full control of the motorcycle, rather than, you know, spitting you out and off the bike. So in terms of electronic enhancements, the Street Glide is just, it has everything that you need to have some fun, but then at the same time it's also quite comfortable. according to Harley-Davidson at least, because the rear suspension, twin suspension supplied by Showa now have 50% more travel as compared to before, but they are now adjustable for preload. Does that mean that they're more comfortable? Yes, the suspension does feel a little bit more plush and such, but what I truly don't quite like is the sitting position of the Street Glide. Now, I'm about close to 6 feet, and I just feel like the way my legs are just bending, and the way I'm sitting in the bike rather than on the bike, I wouldn't want to spend too long over here. And this is not a great sitting position if you have a back problem and such, because you feel everything that the road is throwing at the bike. Right? It does not quite, sometimes it absorbs it, but if the road really gets a bit too rough, it's just going to transfer all that straight to your spine. So it's not a great sitting position for me, and I think that if you have a back problem, or if you're on the taller side and such, this may not be the ideal sitting position, especially if you're traveling long distance. The other thing is, I think the rear brake control is a little bit too vertically mounted for me, but I'm sure this might be adjustable, so that's not something that I'm quite a fan of. So one way around it is I just rely on the front brakes quite a bit. But does that mean that you shouldn't go touring with the Street Glide? Well, not at all, because these saddles, for one, have over 60 liters of storage space, which just means that you can carry quite a lot of stuff for your weekend getaway and such. And the back seat is quite comfortable for your passenger. Unfortunately, the bike given to us by Harley-Davidson Malaysia did not come with passenger foot pegs. I'm not sure why, so I couldn't actually test that out. But besides that, I like everything that the new Harley-Davidson Street Glide has to offer. It's just not the right type of motorcycle for me. I don't like the sitting position and all. And as I said earlier, I'm more a fan of the Road Glide. So should you be spending your hard-earned 195,000 ringgit on the new Street Glide? Well, it's a bike that everybody loves. Harley-Davidson's, you can't argue against what a Harley-Davidson stands for. It stands for freedom, it stands for touring, it stands for being able to go anywhere, anytime you like. And the Harley-Davidson community anywhere in the world is something that is absolutely great. You buy the bike and you're immediately a member of the community. That is something I think anybody can appreciate. But if you want to go touring long distance and such, of course you can. There's no doubt about it. But I just think there are more comfortable bikes out there to do it with. So what does the Street Glide have to offer then? Well, for one, it has plenty of style. There's no doubt about it. It's a great looking bike, no matter how you approach it. And I love this blue color. It really suits the overall motorcycle. And that just brings me to my conclusion. For Malaysians, we always say, gaya mesti ada. And that's what the Harley-Davidson Street Glide has to offer. It's all about style, and with all those improvements in terms of design and the powertrain as well as the infotainment system, now you can have some serious fun with the Harley-Davidson Street Glide. In my books, there are other bikes out there that are more comfortable to ride long distance, but none of them can hold a candle when it comes to style, which is what the Street Glide has to offer in abundance. As usual guys, thank you for watching. Do consider subscribing.